Kyle Gaffigan leads the field to the green flag in the Atsuro Technologies car. Soze Kaiser in the top is on his outside, and as you can see, it is a total downpour here at St. Petersburg. It has been raining all week. Miko Forsstrom and Rudy Green are making it 4 wide coming off of the first corner. And out of the S's, they're going to get together, and they all go into the wall and out of the race. On the first lap, they take Kaiser and defending series champion Luke Warmwater with them. Going on board with Miko Forsstrom in the Juno, Gaffigan does give him room. Oh, he actually slides into him. And then Rudy Green in the SMT sticks his nose where it doesn't belong. That takes all of them into the wall. There's Luke Warmwater getting involved. Oh, what a way to restart Formula Overdrive after a 2-year hiatus with a big wreck on the first lap of the opener. We are now riding on board with Soze Kaiser in the top, the only team other than SAR to return to Formula Overdrive. Kaiser lets Gaffigan, Forsstrom, and Green by. They get together. He almost has it cleared, but then he gets clipped on the left rear. Kaiser would actually continue the race, but he had some pretty hefty damage to get repaired first. We also had a spin coming into the first corner that we overlooked because of that big wreck. Camden Carrington in the Carl Link car gets a bump from behind by Martin Jackson in the Cavette. However, he just goes for a spin and doesn't hit anything until he drives into the turn 1 wall. Not sure why he did that. In the meantime, it would be Kiriki Hitsuno and Ada Karina battling for the lead. Hitsuno is in the Atsuro car with Karina in the Juno. Hitsuno is going to come out ahead with her momentum on the outside. And look at Steven Teller in the red last row car in the 3rd spot. That team does not have a whole lot of money, but they are doing wonders with what little they have. Bob Bloomers in the SMT is going to dive into the pits in the opening laps. Marvin Zakajowski in the Sentry and Quentin Jeffers in the Zenith are going to follow 1 lap later. The Volpes of Regina McLeod and Ronaldo Ventura are having a very good run early on in the race. Ventura is 4th and McLeod is 5th. McLeod did not have a very impressive run in the Arla Street Stocks last season, but so far it looks like she is redeeming herself. Vijay Pashanda in the Quantum is right behind McLeod in the 6th position. Patrick Johansson and Soze Kaiser are going to hit the pit lane. I believe these are scheduled stops. Kaiser was already in the pits after sustaining damage in the lap 1 incident. At the end of lap number 10, Kiriki Itsuno still holds the lead over Ada Karina. Then it is Steven Teller 3rd, Patrick McNeil 4th, and then it is a long gap back to Ronaldo Ventura, Regina McLeod, and Vijay Pashanda. Marcus Lloyd is in the pit lane. And then it will be another big gap back to Zach Branch, Manny Goldstein, Jorge Ramirez, Peter Creamer, Evan Waters, Cesar Gonzalez Jr., and Virginie Tamakis. We're riding on board with Steven Teller, who is still holding up very well in the last row Autosport machine. And we previously mentioned that this is an underfunded team. The only major decal they have on that car is a big last row on the sides. Kiriki Hitsuno has her first encounter with lap traffic as she tries to get around the Sentry of Larry Williams. However, Williams is a fairly gracious backmarker. He lets Hitsuno by without much of a problem. However, he wasn't so kind to the rest of the leaders. Steven Teller has to swing wide to avoid hitting Williams, and he goes into the tire wall and out of the race. A great run for Last Row Autosport ends in heartbreak as Teller goes into the wall while trying to avoid a backmarker. But this means that Patrick McNeil is going to be looking at a podium position in the McSwain Technical Academy car. This team is actually a project for the engineering students at that school. The engines are built by the students, and their grades supposedly ride on how well they do. But McNeil is currently running in the 3rd spot, so I would hope that they are getting A's right now. At the race's halfway point, Ada Karina is going to hit the pit lane from the 2nd spot. In the meantime, Virginie Tamakis is battling with Cesar Gonzalez Jr. when he takes the corner wide and slams into the tire wall, taking himself out of the race. And then Zach Branch in the Zenith joins in the fun, running into the back of Tamakis. This occurs right in front of Peter Creamer and Kiriki Hitsuno, who's trying to negotiate her way past Creamer. Hitsuno is going to come in for her pit stop. Soze Kaiser in front of her was just about to go a lap down. But on that same lap, Patrick McNeil in the McSwain stays out. Generally, by staying out, you'll make up some time on the cars that pitted before you. And then when he does make a stop, he's going to come out just ahead of Hitsuno. However, he's not quite up to speed, and he's going to scrape the wall a little bit, and that is going to give Hitsuno the upper hand. So McNeil almost got her, but a pretty avoidable mistake costs him the lead. Hitsuno is going to open up a pretty big lead over McNeil. You also see that she finally puts Jose Kaiser a lap down. Here is Christophe Tremblay in the Quantum battling with Martin Jackson. He takes the corner wide and smacks the tire wall. Yuriki Hitsuno has to swerve to avoid getting into the back of him. So that's 2 accidents she's had to avoid today. Going on board with Patrick McNeil once again, Hitsuno still has a pretty fair lead on him, but she is caught up in a battle with some lapped cars. One of those cars is the Corvette of Martin Jackson, whose engine lets go in the closing laps. However, it blows up in the final corner, so he can make his way back to the pits without being much of an obstacle. But in the meantime, Kiriki Hitsuno, without much competition, will take her second career victory at St. Petersburg. She previously won at Milwaukee in the 2008 season. And here are your top 15 finishers. Points only go to the top 15 in this series. Patrick McNeil would hang on to the second spot. Ada Carino lost a spot in the pit cycle. Vijay Pachanda finishes a very quiet 4th. The Volpes of Regina McLeod and Ronaldo Ventura finished 5th and 6th. Manny Goldstein finished 7th in the Eichholz. Cesar Gonzalez Jr. worked his way up to the 8th spot after a fairly poor qualifying effort in the SAR. Evan Waters finishes 9th in the other Eichholz car. Peter Creamer, I have to admit, was written off as a back marker during preseason testing, but he finished 10th in the last row machine. The Zenith cars of Zach Branch and Quentin Jeffers finish 11th and 12th. Larry Williams is 13th in the Century. Marcus Lloyd 14th in the McSwain, and Jorge Ramirez finishes 15th in his top. And now here are the top 15 points, which aren't that much different from the results, but you're going to notice that Kyle Gaffigan is scored in 15th. He is tied for that position with Jorge Ramirez. They both have 1 point each, but Gaffigan won the pole for today's race, which pays 1 bonus point, so he is placed ahead of Ramirez.